Hello, my wonderful artists. We are working on making our cardboard magpie hearts. So you want a piece of cardboard that's roughly about the size of a piece of paper. So this one's just a little bit bigger, but roughly the size of a piece of printer paper. So just for sizing, I put that there. The first thing we're going to do is draw that heart. I suggest you kind of try it out in pencil. You want to use as much of the space as you can. We don't want tiny little hearts because it's not going to give us enough room to do everything that we want. Once you have it drawn out in pencil, you can cut it out from there. I'm just going to go over this with markers so you guys can see it really well. This is just a piece of cardboard from shipping, so there's some folds in it and stuff like that, which I'm worried about. So I'm going to make my heart kind of come in so it stops before that fold. Okay, so you just want to kind of think about those things as you're working through it. If you have like a piece of cardboard from a cereal box, you kind of want to just cut out one of the sides so it's nice and flat and not use any of the parts that were already folded. Then comes the more challenging part of cutting through the cardboard. So if you've chosen something a little thinner, it'll be a lot easier versus using something thicker like what I have here. So you just kind of want to cut off pieces as you're working. Working kind of slowly on those curves. And I can't get my scissors in there to turn, so what I'm going to do is come straight down and then kind of wiggle this out so that it is falling out for me rather than me fighting with it. Trying to get my scissors in those tiny spots is not easy, so. So you notice on some of the curves, I'm just going to cut off some of these pieces and then this is more difficult than I expected. Come back and trim as I need to. Since this will be the back of my heart, I'm going to go ahead and write my name on it. So don't forget to put your name, your grade, and your group letter, whichever you belong in, A or B, okay? Then we're going to turn it over. Now, this is where we have a lot of stuff on it that I really don't want to see. So I'm going to cover this up. You can do it with paint. You can do it with markers. There are so many different ways to do this. Since this was something that was mailed to me, I'm going to go ahead and get out some of my markers that I want to use. I have some paint markers here. These are graffiti paint markers. They're really cheap, but they're acrylic paint, so it will cover up things nicely. You have to shake them and then use them. I'm going to start off with this big guy. Just kind of cover up some of the stuff that I don't want seen, like letters and numbers and all the mailing information that was on it. Somebody wrote on it. So I'm just gonna kind of get in here and cover this stuff up. Doesn't have to be perfect, that's not what I'm going for. And if you're just using regular Crayola markers, that is completely fine as well. I just had these handy, so I know I can still see some of what was written there. Ooh, that's not dry yet. So what I can do in the meantime is color in some of the other areas. This cardboard seems to be absorbing these markers a lot, so I don't know if I have enough paint coming out yet. You can paint this, you can use watercolor on it. If you're lucky enough to have a white piece of cardboard, which I am not, you could paint with watercolor on it very easily. If you just have markers at home and you want to go over it with markers, I think markers are probably the fastest way to do this. So this is just one of those brush tip markers I have. And I'm just grabbing from whatever I have close by here. Brown really isn't my favorite color, but most of this will be covered up. So I'm just kind of trying to get a base layer of color on here that kind of covers everything up. Let me see what else I have handy. I think I have anything else that's going to go on super easy, but what I could do is just take black and just kind of fill it in. So you can do this however you want. If you want it to be designed a certain way, you can do that. What I did on the first one was just kind of section off areas and color it in. I think I'm just going to kind of get the edges here. And then I'm going to leave the rest of it brown. I don't mind the color of the cardboard because I know I'm going to fill this with so much yarn and other things that you're really not going to see this anyway. All right, so we're going to go back to that back side really quick. And then you're going to make some little marks where we will cut some slits into our heart, and they don't have to be perfect. They can be further apart. You can put them closer together. It's really up to you how you do that. Okay, so I've got those on there. What I'm going to do is take my scissors again, and I'm only going to use the very tip of the scissors so I don't go too far into my heart, and just cut right as close to on that line as I can. And these should be really, really small. I would say no more than half or a quarter of an inch. They really don't need to be all that deep. In my original, I made, I can't tell if that was cut, some V-shape kind of slits in there. So I just kind of cut out little triangles, and I feel like that didn't hold the yarn in as well. So I'm going to try it this way with you guys to see if this works better. All right. For my at-home learners, there is yarn. There's a couple pieces of yarn in baggies that I have available at the school office. And we'll do a packet pickup on Friday so that you guys can come and get that stuff if you need it. If you'd like to work on it ahead of time, please go ahead and stop by the school office. You are going to need either a little bit of tape or some Elmer's glue. Glue sticks aren't going to work for this, so you really want something that's going to be sticky. If you have some Scotch tape at home, that could work. Painter's tape could work. Whatever, packing tape. My tape does not want to come off here. Sorry. That's what I get for being unprepared. Okay, so I'm just going to rip off a piece and get rid of the stuff that doesn't work. And I'm going to take this tail part and I am going to feed it through one of those slits, and then on the back I want to tape it, but I want to tape it so that you can still see my name. So it's not, and so that it doesn't go over top of one of my other slits. So I'm just going to kind of put it like that. Ta-da, it's taped down. Simple enough, okay? Then you're going to take that yarn and you're going to work it into those slits. Let me unwind some here. Sometimes it takes a little effort to get them in there, and then I pull tight so that it's tight on the back as well as across the front. Now it doesn't have to be super tight. You still want to be able to move it, and you don't want it pulling so hard on your cardboard that it kind of crumples up on you, especially if you're using a thinner piece of cardboard. So I'm just going to kind of try and go through here. Whoop, like that. Don't pull that tight. Pull that back up there a little bit. And then just figure out where you want to go. Pull it through. Go on to the next one. And it's okay if it covers up on the back. I'm still going to be able to read that as long as you've written your name big enough and in a dark enough color. You will cover up some of that. So I like how it kind of sits inside the heart a little bit better than my original example that I've shown you guys. This is a little bit more fun for me, I guess. Kind of a different method. So now that I've kind of gone into all of the slits I have available, I'm going to start going in different directions. I'm trying to fill this as much as I can with the amount of yarn that I am using without going overboard. So I'm just trying to make different patterns and go in different directions than I did the first time. And there's really no wrong way to do this. So you can go from one little cut to another so that they go around. You want to go around every edge and kind of make a whole line around the edge. You can do it that way. It's really, really up to you. Just be careful not to pull too hard on that yarn. Once you have enough in there that you are happy with it, you can stop. That is, again, your choice as to how much is enough or too much or not enough. Remember, we're going to take those things we wrote down that were our memories and our happy moments and our struggles, and we are going to slide those underneath this yarn. So you want them to kind of have a place to stay without falling out. So you want to make sure you have enough on there that that happens without it being too much. Sometimes you find yourselves kind of stopping and thinking, like, where do I go next? I like it when they kind of reach clear across the whole entire heart. All right. I am happy with that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this off, cut it, and then I'm going to tie it to one of my pieces that run across the back. I'm just going to make a loop, put my finger through there. I'm going to take the tail and tuck it in and pull it tight. Then to extra secure it, let's see if my tape will cooperate this time. I'm going to take that tail and again, put it someplace that it's not going to be in the way of reading my name and tape it across the back. Now you don't have to worry about getting in the way of any of those little cuts you made. If your tail's kind of long and you need to trim it more, you can go ahead and do that so that it's not dangling off. All right, this is the part where you take those paper strips that you have with all of those memories that you wrote. You guys cut them. I just kind of tore this one up. And you fold them up as small as you would like, and you tuck them into your heart, okay? After you're done tucking all of those in, you want to make sure they're kind of in there good. If something is really loose, like when you pick it up and it falls out, you might need to glue it in. Then we can use some other kinds of scrap yarns or some scrapping paper, scrapbooking paper, and kind of decorate these a little bit further. So I had some other interesting yarns that I really liked. You can use different kinds of ribbons. I have this one. I had this kind of ribbon. So what you can do with these is really just about anything. You could weave it like you did before. Let me get this guy out of here. Or you can kind of tuck it under. This might be too big, but I'll cut it down. And like tie it on. And kind of cut it off just so it's just right there on the front. Purple is one of my favorite colors, so I like putting that on there. It just kind of represents me. It doesn't have to be your thing, but if it's my thing, that's okay. And then if you wanted to put some so that they kind of dangle, you can do that. You can tie, instead of just knots, you could tie bows. Again, it's really just up to you kind of how that looks and the way you want it to look. So I don't like that bow. I think it's a terrible bow. So I'm just going to tie another knot there. And then I'm just going to kind of let these dangle down. All right. And I really like this one. So maybe we can get this one into a bow. Let's see what happens. Just kind of tie this one up a little higher. Now this is one of those ribbons that has the wire in it, so it kind of holds the shape a little bit better than that yarn did. But there are so many options with different scrap materials maybe you have at home from Christmas ribbons, or if your mom does any scrapbooking, or you have any like leftover little pieces of paper from different things, you can tuck those in. I could even cut this down a little bit further. You could take little notes that your friends wrote to you, or maybe mom tucks them in your lunch. You can put those in. It's really, really up to you how you kind of decorate this and take it beyond just this heart shape with the yarn on it and our 2020 memories. The last part of this project is talking about our 2021 goals. So what it is that you would like to achieve or hope to achieve in 2021. They don't have to be your resolutions. They can be really anything you want to write about. If you don't want to write about something that's a goal, maybe it's just something that you hope to do better at, or something that you want to see happen in the world. So maybe you have little scraps of paper. It could be like these. I could even take these and write, maybe I just write 2021 hopes and dreams. And then I write whatever I want to hope and dream for in 2021. And maybe I just string it on this guy that's dangling and kind of have that be held up in there. I don't want it to be upside down. Like so. And if you don't want it to be something that people can read or turn over, then maybe you glue it on. We can also add glue to these. So you can glue this down so nobody can turn it over. You can glue in your little strips so that nobody can pull them out. These are really personal, and I understand that, and I want that to stay that way. I don't think that it should be something that people would be able to read without your permission. So if you don't mind people pulling them out and reading them, then you can leave them like this. But the next step after this would be to add glue and glitter, and that, or glitter glue, whichever I end up bringing up to you guys to use. So it's really, really, really up to you guys kind of how this ends up and what kind of things we end up doing with them. I hope that you guys have fun with this, and as we're nearing Valentine's Day, kind of think about the things that you love and what to create. I hope you have fun.